Kia ora.
Kia ora, Hayden. It's David. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you, David.
I'm going to cut straight to the chase. We're doing a Flightless Bird episode about cryonics,
Yep.
and I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on the science, or some would say the pseudoscience of cryonics.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I'll have quite a few as soon as you explain to me what cryonics is.
So cryonics is where you freeze a human body shortly after death with the hope that one day you will be able to, once technology has advanced enough, we will be able to figure out how to bring said frozen person back.
Do you do it shortly after death, or can you do it a little bit before death?
I think if you do it just before death, I think that's murder. So I think it has to be very as soon as possible after.
No, but wait 1 second here. What if I say, look, I'm about to die, can you freeze me? So, there's that movie with Tom Cruise and Penelope Cruz and Cameron Diaz.
Oh, Vanilla Sky.
Yeah. And so there he has a bad accident. He's like, no, just put me in the dream realm and I'll just live there until you can get me back. And that seemed ethical to me. I don't think that movie threw up any problems with that.
I think it depends on whatever your country being and what the laws are around euthanasia. Because it's euthanasia, but as well as killing your freezing. You're killing them by freezing them.
Right. Are they dead or frozen though? Can you be frozen?
Well, I guess that's the argument. You're in stasis. So I think scientifically you're dead because your heart has stopped beating when you're frozen.
Right.
But the idea is that in the future you might bring them back.
Well, so you're freezing the corpse instead. And are you freezing it sort of before its brain decays? Because from what I understand about the brain, which is quite a lot, if it's not getting blood and stuff for a while, it doesn't go well. Right?
Yes, so I think that the top cryonics companies, they will endeavor to be as close as possible to you as you're dying. So the second you have died, you will be rushed to the facility where they then fill your veins with certain liquids and then sort of freeze you and keep you on ice until we figure out how to bring them back.
And does that stop your brain from sort of atrophying and going bunk?
That's the idea. You're kept, your brain and your body, or depending on whether you keep your whole body or just the head, it's preserved as well as we know how.
I'm sorry. Wait. Just 1 second. Mm-hmm. Wait, just pause. Did you say depending on if they keep your whole body or just the head?
Yeah, that's part of it because obviously you have to pay to store.
Is there like a tier system? Is this fucking Spotify Premium?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because no, it's like renting storage, right? You die and then you either rent space in a freezer for your whole body, or if you can't afford the whole body, then you do the most important thing, which is the head, because that's where the brain is.
Yes. Makes sense.
We can't all afford the whole body freeze.
Do they give you little odds? I guess it's a bit of uncharted territory, though, but do they give you odds if you are just a head? Do they say, look, your chances of being brought back are probably a little bit more slim as a head than as a body?
I think these are all good questions for the episode, I think, to go into this episode with, because I got to be honest, I don't know.
Okay, well, this sounds, honestly, it sounds a little bit concerning, Dave, and it sounds maybe there might be some problems scientifically with this, maybe ethically, but at the same time, what is it? It's got to be rich people. You're just getting rid of rich people's money. If anything, it's kind of an egalitarian socialist practice, right? Because I guess the problem is that it probably takes quite a lot of power and resourcing to store their bodies, but at the same time, that's money that's not going to their horrible kids. If Donald Trump freezes himself, it's money that's not going to Donald Trump Jr. to do evil in the world. So I guess I'm pro.
Didn't you freeze your child's umbilical cord in your freezer? That's kind of a similar thing.
Dave, do you not pay attention to anything I say? You don't freeze the umbilical cord. You famously have to cut it.
What was frozen in your freezer?
The placentas.
Oh, there's the placenta. Yeah, so isn't that similar?
Yeah, but there's a little bit of a difference in that I didn't expect it to come alive again in sort of a few years' time. I also didn't expect to leave the freezer door open and for all the blood from them to leak over the floor and be licked up by my cat. But that is a different story. And do you know what I did recently, Dave? I took my kids out and I buried those placentas in the yard. So I'd say there's a huge difference from what these companies are doing, unless they are just taking the money and burying the corpses in the yard, which I also ethically and morally and spiritually approve of.
I'm David Farrier, a New Zealander accidentally marooned here in America, and I want to figure out what makes this country tick. Now, during our live show in Denver, we had a menagerie of guests, including one from the Alcor Life Extension Foundation. And since then, I've not been able to stop thinking about him. Alcor is an American nonprofit organization based in Scottsdale, Arizona, and it's deeply interested in preserving human life through freezing human corpses with the idea they can one day be animated, brought back to life in the future. Some say cryonics is a science, many more say it's nothing more than a pseudoscience, and those frozen corpses will never see life again. Now, if like me, you were a teenager in the 90s, you'll be familiar with this process thanks to movies like Demolition Man, which saw Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes' characters cryogenically frozen in the year 1996, only to be reanimated in 2032, not very far away now, so they can fight each other. Demolition Man came out in 1993, but Alcor has been around since 1972. Alcor and the whole idea of cryonics is deeply, deeply American. Former Boston Red Sox player Ted Williams was allegedly cryogenically frozen back in 2002. But the Americanness of cryonics started way before then. Back in 1773, Benjamin Franklin wrote, "I wish it were possible from this instance to invent a method of embalming drowned persons in such a manner that they may be recalled to life, however distant." American author Neil R. Jones is credited with sort of coming up with the general concept of freezing someone to later bring them back in a science fiction book he wrote in 1931. And in 1964, Robert Ettinger posited cryonics as a real feasible thing in his book, The Prospect of Immortality, saying, "No matter what kills us, whether old age or disease, and even if freezing techniques are still crude when we die, sooner or later, our friends of the future should be equal to the task of reviving and curing us." 3 years after that book came out, the first American was frozen. Professor James H. Bedford, a 73-year-old retired professor and cryonics fanatic. And in 1972, Alcor began, freezing its first patient in 1976. It's a company that would, allegedly, go on to freeze that Red Sox player Ted Williams that I mentioned earlier. Alcor, I know this intro is very long, but I'm very into this topic. Alcor now have 250 Americans on ice, including kids, adults, and some cats and dogs. Some are whole bodies, some are just the heads. Today on Flightless Bird, we have the president and CEO of Alcor in the studio. I'm enthralled and also highly skeptical. I had lots of questions. So get ready to put your body on ice and pray to God they figure out how to de-thaw you without too many issues 500 years in the future, because this is the Cryonics episode.
Flightless, flightless, flightless bird touchdown in America. I'm a flightless bird touchdown in America.
So in Demolition Man, it was 96 to 2032?
Yeah.
So what, 36 years?
Yeah. They were like very positive about what we'd come up with in some of those like 90s movies.
Yeah, it just seems like a short span.
So short.
They might as well have just done 1,000 years.
Yeah, why not do it, right?
But 36?
I mean, it's kind of fun for us, like living now, being like, oh, that's almost like happening now.
You just would think, like, they know what a lifespan was at that time.
They were just like incredibly enthusiastic about what the human race could come up with.
Yeah, I just feel like you, like, for that premise to work, you need to at least pass like 2 generations.
I completely agree.
Otherwise, it's like, oh, there's my brother, 36 years older.
Yeah, this is weird.
Yeah.
Like, I still have siblings who are alive.
That restaurant's
like,
still there.
I guess I can't remember the plot of Demolition Man, but I think there were people, when they were reanimated that they knew from like back in the day? I can't even remember.
If it's only 36 years,
Well, there
there's
would
gotta be, yeah.
Maybe that was like a plot point, a plot device.
Yeah, it might have been. Well, because there's also Futurama. Fry, that's the whole premise, is Fry goes into the future.
Of course. How did he go into the future? Because I never watched that.
He was like delivering
show.
pizza or something and fell into a cryogenic chamber.
Right, so that was Cryonics.
Just woke up. Yeah.
Alien Earth, that's just come out on FX.
Yes, started watching that.
That has cryonics pods where like the whole famously at Sigourney Weaver and Alien, that's how they survive space travel, is they get like sealed up in a pod and then they wake up and there are usually like aliens on board.
But for some reason, they're always in like sexy tank tops and underwear.
They're always in tank tops and underwear. That's always a thing. They always emerge. One of them vomits.
Yeah. We started watching that and I was like, why? What is this attire?
Did you watch any of like the original Aliens? Like I love Sigourney Weaver so much.
A little bit. It was too scary for me when it came out.
What do you think of the new show?
I like it so far. I've only watched like half an episode.
Yeah. But I was watching and I was like, this is Cryonics. Like, this is what it's all about.
Well, a lot of like sci-fi space travel shows or movies have that.
And it relies it, right? Like it relies on it.
Yeah. Well, you're going to travel far enough in space that you can't stay awake. So you're going to be put into a deep sleep and then woken up. Is it always cryogenics when they're doing that?
I learned something already in this. So there's different phrases for all this because I was very confused. So cryogenics is like a straight science. So that's the branch of physics that studies the behavior of matter at very low temperatures. Cryobiology is the branch of biology involving the effects of low temperatures on like organisms. Mm-hmm. And cryonics is when you store an entire human with the idea that you will like reanimate them. So if you got a guy that like studied cryogenics, he'd probably get very pissy if you were like, oh, you're the one that's like freezing people.
Do you know, have they successfully unfrozen anything?
No.
Because I mean, this is not new. Like
it's been around for a long time.
Could freeze a dog for a year and unfreeze it, but they still haven't cracked that.
No. So it actually reminds me, when I was a kid, we had our pet cat, Chandler Bing, died. And for some reason, we didn't want to bury him immediately. So he was in the freezer for a while. So that was technically cryonics.
Yeah, I mean, you were just trying to stop it from decomposing, probably.
We were. Yeah, we weren't going to bring it back.
I think that would happen in the Midwest, too, because when my grandpa died,
yeah,
I think they had to put him somewhere because the ground was too hard to bury him at that time.
Oh, right. But it would be like in a morgue.
Yeah, and he was embalmed probably at that stage, too.
Or was he at home? Like kept in
he wasn't kept at home.
He wasn't in like the big like freezer in the
the garage of some sort.
Okay, so like I feel like already we're in quite weird territory. Like when you hear all of this, and obviously you heard some of this at the Denver show. We touched on it for like 4 minutes. Like when I talk about this stuff, like where does your brain go?
Well, I think in theory I should love it. Like my relationship with thinking about death, like this is the perfect solution of just like freeze me and then unfreeze me when you can make humans live forever. Thinking about it logically and practically, like I don't think it's a responsible use of resources currently. It seems a little luxurious.
Yeah, because like it's a lot of power and resources to keep something perfectly frozen at a certain temperature.
Yeah. Like we can't
for God knows how long.
We can't feed everyone in the world right now, but we're gonna freeze people, or we have. Yeah, there's plenty of issues that I think money and resources
could go towards.
Should probably go to before this. I mean, it's very like egocentric.
I agree. It's possibly one of the most self-centered things to do because you're positing that unless you're freezing yourself with your entire family, you're positing that you're the one that wants to be brought back in like 500 years. No one you know is going to be alive then.
Yeah.
It's like, I deserve to keep living.
Well, and it's going to cost money. I know he mentioned the live show that a lot of like it is covered by insurance and the same cost as like a funeral, but like to what extent that's going to run out. So instead of your kids getting your money after you die, it's just, I'm going to just keep paying.
There's that.
For this instead.
Because I was kind of thinking about it. I've got a storage shed in New Zealand with like all my stuff when I left. It's sitting in there.
You want to put an outlet in there and a cryo.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to be frozen. But like, it's that same thing where like I pay to keep that place like going, and if I stop paying, it's just going to be like auctioned off.
Well, and if you die, you're going to stop making money.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's the thing. Like, if I'm dead and frozen, and like someone stops paying the rent, well, then what are they going to do with the frozen body, right?
Yeah, or you're going to pay for, well, here's 50 years worth of rent on this. I also am not sure I'm super confident the longevity of how long Earth's going to be inhabitable.
How long can this building full of corpses be kept like
Well, just
going?
with like climate change.
Oh, you're saying like you wake up, the Earth's going to be awful.
Yeah, I don't know that like in 200, 300 years when you'd be unfrozen, that like the Earth
Do you want to be in that
unlimited
world?
resources or you're waking up into like a Mad Max world.
Yeah. It's not a guaranteed good place you're going to go to.
It's assuming that technology progresses positively and that the world does and that you want to wake up to that. But it's also just a roll of the dice.
Completely. And it's like it's completely out of your control. You're not making any decisions when you're on ice.
Also, not to forget that it's just like not possible currently.
Oh, absolutely.
Which I guess in that, like, put you in a casket or put you in a frozen chamber, it doesn't really make much of a difference what happens to your dead body.
Stay tuned for more Flightless Bird. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Support for Flightless Bird comes from Mint Mobile. Now, you know what doesn't belong in your epic summer plans? Getting burned by your old wireless bill. The $80 bill, the $90 bill, no one wants it. So I made the switch to Mint Mobile. With Mint, you can get the mobile coverage and speed you're used to, but for way less money. And for a limited time, Mint Mobile is offering 3 months of unlimited premium wireless service for $15 a month. That's right, $15 a month. So while your friends are sweating over data overages and surprise charges, you'll be chilling both literally and financially.
All plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number, which is huge, along with all your existing contacts. So ditch overpriced wireless plans and get 3 months of unlimited service from Mint Mobile for just $15 a month.
And I was on a plan that was costing me about like between $90 and $100 a month. I just thought that was the norm in America. It doesn't have to be. You can jump on Mint Mobile and you can get it for $15 a month. So this year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get this new customer offer and your 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/bird. That's mintmobile.com/bird.
Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for the first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Support for Flightless Bird comes from Quince. Now, look, why drop a fortune on basics when you don't have to? Quince has the really good stuff. They've got high-quality fabrics, classic fits, and lightweight layers for warm weather, all at prices that make sense. Everything I've ordered from Quince has been nothing but solid. Shorts, t-shirts, pants, underwear, socks. It's all there. No, it's not for summer, but I've got a fleece jacket from there. I love it.
I just got really nice bedding from there. I'm really into good bedding and investing in my sleep.
I know about this.
Quince,
Whenever we travel, like if it's bad bedding, we hear about it.
Yes.
Yeah. I forget that Quince does bedding. I need new bedding. I'm going to get it from Quince.
Yeah, aside from bedding, Quince has closet staples that you'll want to reach for over and over, like cozy cashmere and cotton sweaters for just $50, breathable flow knit polos, and comfortable lightweight pants that somehow work for both weekend hangs and dressed up dinners. You're kind of the king of pants that work for any occasion.
I am. You're right.
So
You're
this is
completely
perfect
right.
for you.
And by working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middlemen, Quince gives you luxury pieces without the markup. And they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes.
Keep it classic and cool with long-lasting staples from Quince. Go to quince.com/bird for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns.
That's QUINCE.com/bird to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/bird. the thing that I'm also slightly fearful of is if they don't get that process right. Like, say some magical way in the future they figure out how to like reanimate that like dead brain.
Well, you're a hybrid like in Alien Earth.
Or in Alien Earth, yeah, they pop your brain in like another body.
Yeah.
But if any of your brain has like decayed or doesn't come back, you're going to wake up gasping. You're going to be like half formed, and they're going to take you out the back and like put you down.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like you wake up into this like horrible existence. That's the other fear. There's this book that was written in 2001 called Death to Dust, What Happens to Dead Bodies. And they really looked into the whole process of cryonics, which I thought is maybe worth talking through. And this is just speaking like very generally about the tech that was happening back in 2001. Once cryonics technicians get control of a corpse, they reinstitute cardiopulmonary resuscitation and as quickly as possible put the body on a heart-lung machine similar to that used in an operating room. So oxygen is sort of going through this dead body. Attaching a body to this machine takes considerable time, even in the most expert hands. Cryonicists say that under optimal circumstances, a body can be on a machine within 30 minutes after death. That's really like going to happen, 30 minutes straight on the machine. Once the body is attached to this machine, technicians rapidly cool the blood and then the body to 59 degrees Fahrenheit. Cooling takes as little as 15 minutes. Technicians then administer drugs that supposedly reduce damage from decreased oxygen going to the tissues, such as calcium channel blockers and blood thinners. All these meds have shown experimental evidence of protecting tissues. And one, the calcium channel blocker nimidipine is used in some patients with brain injuries. Cryonicists watch the brain during this process through a hole made in the skull. They place a temperature probe through this hole when the bypass is done. They then submerge the body in a bath of silicone oil for 36 to 48 hours, cooling it to a temperature approximately of dry ice. When the body reaches this temp, it's wrapped in a pre-cooled sleeping bag, placed in a protective aluminium pod, and lowered into an insulated container called a dewar, in which liquid nitrogen is repeatedly added in small amounts. The body gradually cools over 5 days to negative 320 degrees Fahrenheit. It's then transferred to another larger dewar that's filled with liquid nitrogen. And there you are.
So you didn't answer, would you do this?
No.
No.
No. As far as like, I see like 3 ways of like surviving forever. Picking the right religion, and that God is there, and you're in some sort of like eternal heaven. You're getting frozen and reanimated by some future civilization, or you're uploading your brain like onto the internet with one of like horrific Musk's little chips.
And you like upload best?
I'm doing upload. Not via,
yeah.
I mean, not via, like, to be clear, Musk's not the guy to do it. But of all of them, have you seen Pantheon? It's a Netflix show. It's animated.
No.
It's friggin' incredible. It's like basically about the whole idea of like what uploaded consciousnesses would do to the world.
Mhm.
It's a really good sci-fi. But of all of them, I am not freezing myself.
I don't love the upload thing either, though, because you're uploading a copy of you. That's not even you. So
If it's close enough, like if they
You're
do
not
like a
gonna know
full
anyways.
brain scan, you're not going to know. You're just going to be up there. But imagine leaving this fleshy meat sack that like, to make this podcast today, I had to like get in the car to drive in, so much time. If we're just all online, we can be podcasting whenever we want all the time.
But your consciousness is not. They're just making a copy of what makes up your consciousness and
Yes.
putting it into a computer. So
Yeah.
those two are disconnected.
I think they're the same thing.
You think they're the same.
I reckon if they could do like a really good brain scan and like the whole brain.
That's just a clone, though, but that you're not connecting consciousness of clones.
I just think if you could simulate what my brain is doing and the connections and the neural links that it's made,
Yeah, simulate.
I'm okay with the simulation. If it lets me live
But there's
forever,
not the I don't think the
I'm down.
Well, I guess the whole point of all of this, though, is none of it is proven to work or do any. Like,
and I believe
so
it
far
absolutely is
away.
never going to happen. I just find it very funny to think about. Like
Yeah.
part of the thing that Pantheon does is it's scientists trying to figure out how they scan the brain. And there's all these uploaded consciousnesses that are just like completely bung. They're just like horrible, like amorphous nothings because like barely any of the data got up there.
that scares me more than being frozen, is that your consciousness being put into like a computer chip, and like when your computer freezes and crashes, like, well, that's your brain. Like, I don't know what that feels like. I don't know.
Also, this idea of the being like you just a floating consciousness with no like tethered to no body for eternity. That could also be a complete nightmare.
Yeah, the guy running the software on those machines
Yeah,
like
freaking right.
leaves, and that machine's just left on somewhere. And
These are all very good points, and I'm now walking back on that entire idea.
one argument that I think I would be up for listening to
Mhm.
cryonics for
Mhm.
is like terminally ill people. I do feel like
Potentially.
there is a potential argument for. I still think regardless.
Why is that better giving it to a person who's terminally ill than me who just wants to like live on?
Well, like 3-year-old that's terminally ill that has not been able to live. I don't think they should just start freezing terminally ill people. I think they need
Just
to
be clear.
They need to
Rob
like
says
they need to be able to like freeze and unfreeze, and like
okay.
that's a viable
Oh, the technology needs to be there.
technology.
But they don't know they're going to be able to unfreeze until they test the freezing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, but
Then someone has to be the first 3-year-old to do
or
it.
the 250
There's 250 of them
people
on
need
ice
to be
right now.
tested. I think there's like some testing that probably
Yeah.
like
If
I don't love animal testing,
yeah.
but
See, here's another quote coming up. But
freeze a dog and bring it back.
it's
and
like how
see
they
if-
send dogs
yeah.
to space before they sent humans, right? It's that whole
or
idea.
But I think just like freezing and being like, cool, one, we'll figure out how to unfreeze, and
Yeah.
2, hopefully we'll also figure out how to cure this disease.
No, and the other thing, because assuming, like, if I'm going to be frozen and I'm number like 251, I would hope that they would like wake up the very first person that was frozen first, and I would be number 251. So they've had like 250 goes to get it right. And they've tried on the dogs and the cats first
Yeah.
that are in there
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
Yeah, but who's advocating on your behalf in 200 years when everyone else
When everyone's
is
gone.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And like your frozen corpse isn't just become a dartboard.
That's the thing, right? Like, who's going to give a shit?
Yeah.
I guess it's an argument for having children, and then they have grandchildren. They have grandchildren. You pass down this idea. Great grandfather Farrier,
Rich
has
great
to be brought
grandfather
back.
that spent our life savings on keeping himself frozen. Let's make sure that our great grandkids are making
Yeah.
sure they're not doing anything suspect with
God.
his body.
That's another really good point. No one's advocating for me.
Yeah, there's like any rights to frozen people.
These are all things that probably need to be sorted out. So I jumped on Alcor's website just to get their particular take, because Alcor is like the biggest company in America, in the world, that does this.
Which they've got like legitimate science for freezing people and like not having them
They do.
decay afterwards.
Yeah, completely. I mean, they're doing it,
Yeah.
and people are actively signing up and paying for it. On the website, our understanding of death continues to evolve. The definitions of death change over time as medical understanding and technology improve. Someone who would have been declared dead decades ago may still have a chance today. Death used to be when a person's heart stopped, then when their heart couldn't be restarted, and now it's being extended further. The most accurate definition of death. Death is only permanent when the structures encoding memory and personality have become so disrupted that it becomes theoretically impossible to recover the person. This is called information theoretic death. Any other definition of death is arbitrary and subject to revision. This is all according to Alcor. Death is a process, says Alcor. When someone is dying, the transition from alive to dead is not instantaneous. It takes time to die. Doctors can use this time to try and save the person and are often successful. When it's impossible and inappropriate to reverse the dying process, this is when cryonics becomes relevant. And this is their big point. The dying process can be paused. Cryonics is currently the best known method for pausing the dying process in a way that allows for potentially restoring good health with medical tech in the future. Cryonics is an ambulance to the future.
It's a good tagline for a movie.
Typical price ranges for domestic cats and dogs. Just the head.
Can you imagine just freezing the head of your cat?
That is a process that has to take place, right? In there. At the low point, $7,000. At the higher point for a head, more like $32,000.
And that's just like the one-time fee, but then there's...
And then I believe there is an ongoing rental and like a membership cost. Whole body for a cat or dog, $32,000 for a low price, up to $132,000. When it comes to human bodies,
the idea of ongoing costs for you as a dead body is just a wild.
Because usually like you
concept.
die, it's like a big cost for a funeral, right?
Yeah.
The party, the burial site, the cremation, and then that's it. Do you pay? You don't pay rent for a gravesite, right?
No,
you buy it.
You're buying the plot of land,
and that's it.
And that's it. I mean, you can like upkeep maybe,
but if upkeep of the gravesite,
that's why I'm going to be buried in my backyard,
straight in the backyard.
And I think it's illegal to dig up a gravesite.
It is.
So if I'm buried in the backyard, whoever buys the house after is still not allowed to dig me up.
I read something that's definitely wrong, but said that if you bury someone at your house, you can get it like rezoned as like a gravesite and apparently like pay less taxes. Instagram told me that the other day. So there you go. Guess how much for a whole body? Actually, let's just do a head. How much for a head to be frozen?
$7,000 for a cat and $132,000, right? $130,000 for a whole body. $25,000.
$80,000 for a human head.
$80,000. It's a big jump from cat head to human head,
which I respect.
Yeah,
I think one should pay more for a human head than I value cats.
Market value, I guess.
Market value. Whole human body. What do you reckon?
It's $300,000.
Close, $220,000. Would you do a head or a whole bod?
I wouldn't bother if it was only the head.
You just leave it.
Can you imagine like waking up and it's just a head? Your body's gone.
I guess that's where we get back into Alien Earth again, where you'd get the brain and maybe like then put it in a body, right? If they've got the technology to wake your brain up, you'd hope they also have the technology.
That's a big jump, David.
Doesn't Futurama have like brains in a jar?
They do have heads in jars.
Heads in jars.
And they can talk.
There you go.
They have like George Washington.
He's in there?
Yeah, they've got like historical figures.
Yeah, I mean, that is the thing, isn't it? It's like, what do you want that life to be if it's just your brain reactivated?
Well, I just know they like amputees talk about like phantom limbs.
Phantom body syndrome.
Whole body being gone. It would have to be assuming that you can put a head on a body at that point.
Yeah. Which again, you're just hoping. You're just having faith that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. That's just a hell of a like jump to be like, we're not sure we can unfreeze this head, but also we're going to also assume that we can reattach it to a body. Like there's a lot of, there's too many technological jumps.
So many.
For me that need to be figured out. I
hadn't even thought about it in that way. But yeah, the head presents some real problems. And there's also that thing. They are, every cryonics, Melbourne has one of these labs. Russia has one of these labs. They're all chopping the head.
Is this an like a uniquely American thing?
Also, so this was all this started in America. Like it was born pretty much out of some like thinkers, some sci-fi writers. Mm-hmm. And then the first American to be frozen was deeply American. There's a Russian company called Cryonics. That was the first non-US cryonics service. And just recently one opened in Australia, Australia's first and only cryonics facility. It's called Southern Cryonics. From a news article on abc.net.au, in a nondescript facility near Holbrook in New South Wales, a woman's body has been cryogenically frozen in the hope that science will one day revive her. Her body is one of two that now lie within Australia, frozen to around negative 200 degrees Celsius.
I almost feel like I would trust being frozen in Russia more than here. Just because it's like the Arctic a lot there, like
You want to be somewhere cold.
somewhere cold and
like LA is fucking hot right
I don't
now,
know, I just
right?
think of like a James Bond
a layer, just a cold frozen
cold
tomb.
layer.
And actually, it's actually
Like ethics
makes
are kind
sense.
of a little more questionable. America feels too corporate for this. Like you almost, not that I think like the government running it would make it any.
But I know what you mean. Like, do you want essentially like tech bros like leading the charge on all this?
Yeah.
Not that that's not Alcor's like a non-for-profit, but like generally the space is like hypercharged by like very like profit-driven people.
Yeah.
I agree.
Also, the like population of the Earth is already like it's getting crowded.
Yeah. You're saying like let people go. Like maybe, just maybe we should accept the fact that we have like a limited time on Earth and that's part of the way it's meant to be. And we should just like slip off without all this shit.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more Flightless Bird. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Support for Flightless Bird comes from Square, the easy way for business owners to take payments, book appointments, manage staff, and keep everything running in the one place. Whether you're selling t-shirts or you're selling coffee or cutting hair, detailing cars or running a design studio, Square helps you run your business without running yourself into the ground.
Yeah, we use Square at our live shows, and it's great because here's the credit card. Here's the machine that lets us take credit cards and make selling merch a heck of a lot easier.
It's so easy. Like if you're like trying to sell stuff using Venmo payments or bank transfers or cash, it's crazy how quickly it changes just having a Square reader, because you put all your products in there. Someone comes up and orders a shirt, you click a button, they wave a card, it's done. Until we use Square for like our Flightless Bird merch, I had never noticed that everywhere has them, and I'm using them all the time, and it's so quick and efficient.
Yeah.
Very into it.
It just makes checkout super quick, easy receipts. It's all hooked up to your phone number most of the time.
Oh, it's the easiest thing to get running. And with Square, you can track all your sales, you can manage inventory and access reports in real time. Whether you're in the shop or on the go, on a bus, running solo, whatever you're doing, it's there. So with Square, you get all the tools to run your business with none of the contracts or complexity. And why wait? Right now, you can get $200 off Square hardware at square.com/go/bird.
That's SQUARE.com/GO/bird. Run your business smarter with Square. Get started today.
Okay, so yesterday, we had James Arrowood sitting exactly where you're sitting right now.
It feels a little icy in this spot.
I see there. And so for the record, he's been like amazing to our show. He came to that live show. He flew in for that and did that. And I think doing a live show is like a leap of faith because you don't know what's going to happen. He then came in to openly talk about this. It was a hectic conversation because he has so much going on and there were so many deviations. I've honed our chat down into like, it's about 10 minutes long of what we talked about. But this whole thing is so mad to me, and I'm kind of just amazed that this guy that runs this place that has 250 Americans frozen, heads, bodies, cats, and dogs, he's doing this. He's happy to talk about it. They've got 2,000 members that want this to happen to them when they die. And he's sitting down on the couch talking about it. That to me is just kind of outrageous. So this was a conversation we had yesterday. Okay. We had you on stage in Denver, which would be, God, a few months ago now.
It goes fast.
Thank you for doing that. I always admire anyone that comes in and does something live because I think that takes another kind of set of skills. So thank you for that.
My pleasure. Thank you.
But also felt, because it was so rapid fire, we had 4 guests.
Yep.
I feel like we got about 5 minutes on stage, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about you and what you do at Alcor. And I thought, why not have you in and just really like quiz the hell out of you about this whole thing?
Yeah, let's go. Like anything's fair game within reason. And if it's not, I'll have to tell you. I'll have to be like, hey, it's confidential. We do have some of that, but that's part of business.
Very simple question to start off with. You're in Los Angeles at the moment. You're not normally in LA. How's your time in LA been?
I am back and forth lately between our headquarters in Scottsdale, Arizona, in San Francisco, in LA.
Before you were CEO of Alcor, which is a very specific gig in a specific area to work in, what were you doing before you were in this whole life extension cryonic space?
My career has been as a lawyer, and particularly as a litigator or barrister in Commonwealth countries.
Very American as well.
Yeah, and but in the spaces of healthcare and emerging technology, so medical device, pharmacology. I get a phone call and they say there's this company and we don't know what to do with them. So this is a big firm, and firms don't like turn away business, right? But they're just like, it's just too weird for us. And I had never heard of cryonics per se. I've seen it in movies and things like that, but you just kind of see it and goes
you'd
away.
watch Demolition Man, that kind of thing. Yeah,
Encino Man, I think too, is another one or something. Some of those. So I get this phone call, and I think everybody who first hears about this, it's like, what the hell is this, right?
Yeah, what is this?
Yeah, and I've done some weird technology, but this was different. But when you think about it, it makes sense. It merges a form of kind of healthcare, or what we like to think of continuation emergency medicine, with this state-of-the-art mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, those sorts of things. So while it was very, very strange to begin with, it made a lot of sense for my skill sets and background as it's played along.
Just in a wider sense, when did you go, these guys are legit? Was it like a quick thing? Was it like a week? Was it like years of working with them?
It probably took, I've been associated with Alcor for at least, I don't know, probably 12 years now. Yeah, it took at least probably 3 years.
Okay.
And it was really the result, frankly, of meeting probably some of the non-computer scientists, more the biological scientists, and some of the tech people. And first of all, it's your least worst option. I think that as a logic, I like to think of Dr. Spock.
As far as what happens to your body when you die.
When you die, okay, you think about Spock in Star Trek, for folks who like that stuff. I've always kind of liked Spock a little bit. And is it logical? Well, when you look at logic, what's the alternative needs to be your next question. What are the alternatives?
Yeah, you're either rotting in the ground,
right.
You're incinerated.
Carbonized. You're carbonized. Mm-hmm. So nothing of you is going to remain that's useful, essentially. Maybe some DNA in your teeth if you're lucky, right? And, rotting in the ground, that's never appealed to me. I mean, you're literally worm food and stuff. And some people are cool with that. Great.
Yeah, not for you.
Yeah. I mean, think about every moment of your life has been in support of your brain. So why just roll it and toss it because some arbitrary accident takes you out?
Yeah, so in your mind, why not preserve this body as best as we can in case in the future we can bring it back? How did you transition from legal counsel for Alcor to being CEO? How the hell did that happen?
That was
someone quit, someone left, you jumped on board?
Yeah, no, it was kind of a combination of factors. So this is an incredibly challenging job. We've touched on some of this, but you're having to actively go recover bodies multiple times a month, very serious stuff, deal with families who are losing loved ones, trying to do ultra high-tech science while raising funds as a nonprofit, right? Mm-hmm. While you're also trying to figure out what the next step is.
Yeah, you're wearing a ton of hats. And you're doing a podcast with a New Zealander for an hour.
And yes, we're trying to get into the culture in different ways, right? And so if you don't have all those tools in your toolbox, it becomes a challenge, especially over any length of time. By the way, I have medical clinics.
Separate to Alcor?
Yeah, separate to Alcor, and we have thousands of patients. And so I'd already had experience running kind of a business operation that has thousands of people and everything else like that. Now, Alcor has about 1,500 members, over 250 patients, which are people that are cryosuspended. So the numbers that I was working with independent of my law practice and making that business go, that has some application.
Yeah, it made sense for you to step into that role.
Well, the board knew that I had done that and it was successful and I was running the legal practice. Now, frankly, I had some health challenges myself. Those health challenges are relevant to some of what we're trying to do at Alcor. It has to do with genetic conditions and DNA storage and things like that. And so I had a vested interest.
Yeah, 10% selfish.
I wanted to steer the boat if it was going to be something that probably won't benefit me in my lifetime, but could benefit people that find themselves similarly situated with genetic conditions. Now, when the opportunity came at Alcor, the board, I actually didn't apply for the job.
Cool, shoulder tapped.
Yeah, basically. They said, look, we've seen your judgment over the last 8 years. You've helped us through a lot of different things, and we're trying to grow. And they said, we think that it's time to kind of have a change where we really look at growth and we look at busting through that cultural zeitgeist and negativity. And we know you have experience on the news and have done all these things on emerging tech. And so they said, we think you have the tools in your toolbox to move this forward.
What is the process like in just rough terms? Like, what are you doing? You're not just throwing my body in a freezer.
No, it is, look, it's state-of-the-art science. It's complex.
I've seen photo essays of your lab.
Okay.
And it looks like a cross between a modern fresh hospital and sort of something you'd see in a sci-fi.
Right.
Like, I've seen photos and it's amazing.
It's wild.
So what's the process? What are you doing in really rough terms? Like, I know you're not a scientist, but what are you doing?
First of all, we're not freezing you. The whole point is not to freeze.
Okay,
We don't want to freeze you.
Yeah.
We want to do what's called vitrify you.
Okay, what is vitrifying?
Basically, vitrifying in simplest terms means we're trying to cool your cells to an ultra cold temperature without ice forming. Ice is the bad guy here.
Okay.
So ice, I mean, everybody can think of ice as being sharp. It is. It's on the molecular level, it's like a bunch of razor blades, essentially.
Okay.
So that's obviously really bad around cells. You get crushing injuries on the molecular level to cells. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to remove water, but your body's 70% water. Okay. So at the time of death, when cells are still alive, because you can biopsy them, know that most of your cells are going to be alive in some form or another for some amount of time, and they vary in the amounts of time they're alive. But we want to get you real fast. We want to hypercool you, but we want to stop, essentially, right when ice is about to form. Hold that temperature, get you to the lab, the operating room. So we have full operating room at Alcor. We're then going to replace the stabilization fluid. So we take out your blood, which is putting the water in your body. We replace it with a different fluid that's almost a gel-like substance. It's thicker. But again, it prevents ice forming. Get you into our lab, and then we perfuse your body with a higher concentration of this gel solution, which is extraordinarily expensive. And then what happens is then we try to essentially flash freeze you. So mind you, this whole initial process can take 48 hours or more, depending on
all
where
the
you're
fluid changeover is taking a long time.
Swap out of the water, essentially.
Okay, so all that's replaced, and then snap freeze.
Yes.
What does that look like?
Man, it's tough because you need a team of people. These are scientists and engineers, and they're taking your body and they're kind of very quickly, and almost like an injection chamber of liquid nitrogen, but at a very controlled way. And there's sensors and computers.
Right, so they're blasting this body with liquid nitrogen in a very controlled way.
There's actually temperature range where ice can form, but then it gets so cold that ice can't form. It's so cold that even ice can't be in that temperature, right? And to me, like, how does that work? What's the state of matter at that point? But that's called vitrification.
And that's what you're doing to the body?
That's what we're trying to shoot for.
Okay.
Yeah, we want vitrification. Not always possible. If you die and we don't get you for a week, you're going to be a straight freeze.
Yeah.
That's more just put you in liquid nitrogen. It's more complicated, takes days. But if we get you in time, we're going to vitrify you. That vitrification, in simplest terms, basically prevents cracking, and it prevents your cells from being misaligned. And then you go in what's called a dewar, which is the giant steel tanks people can see on the internet and stuff like that.
You've got 250 clients who are essentially on ice. Are they all in one facility? Are they in this one place, or are they spread out?
For the most part, yes.
It's one thing to think about, I pass away, I get my body, my entire body stored. Some people just go for the head.
I'm signed up as a neuro.
It's cheaper? Okay, and that's neuro. You sign up for a neuro, it's just the head.
Yeah.
Which, it begs, like, it's sort of a hack question in a way, but it's like, just the head is a very visceral concept. Because in your lab, you have a body and you are severing the head. You're essentially throwing away the body and keeping the head. So what is that process like? What, you're sawing off a head? I didn't mean crass. You're sawing off a head? What is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it sounds. Yeah. You're separating the head, or detaching the cephalon is the more technical way to put it. But you're severing the head. What does that process look like? It looks like you imagine.
With your clients, say you've got 250 clients, what percentage choose to have roughly the whole body frozen, and how many just the head?
Roughly 60-40. So out of, whatever the math is, there's probably 130 whole bodies and whatever the difference is on neuros. Okay. I'm a neuro. I mentioned, I touched on some health stuff I'm going through. My body's beat to hell. Like my body's got all kinds of screws and wire and stuff in it because my body's so beat up. And if I make it to 80 or something, I'm basically a cyborg at that point anyways.
Yeah, totally.
You know, and it's like my brain is the thing that matters. Look, we do not promise revival at all. There are members. I can't control my membership. We have 1,500 plus members. And I liken it to politics. It's always the extreme 10% on either end that kind of tell people what's going to happen.
Because I wanted to talk about that, like the clients, because I think that's a really interesting thing.
Go for it.
You know, you've got this clientele, and I imagine they have very different levels of expectation. Am I right in thinking most of the people that sign up to be cryogenically frozen do have the hope that science may catch up and they may be revived? Is that most of the reasoning behind it?
I'm a lawyer. Let's define our terms. Hope, right? So the best way to explain it was we have a member who's actually a very prominent person who explained it to me this way and said, look, James, this is the Powerball ticket of biology. Okay. I know my odds are really low, but they're better than zero. And I think I would put the spectrum of our membership at about 80% of membership being somewhere in that, you know, anywhere from 0% to 5 or 10 or whatever for us right now, because, you know, technology gets better with time, right? We don't know in 20 years. But then we have 10% who will absolutely tell you this is going to work. But that's not us. That is not Alcor, the organization.
That's their motivation, though.
Yes, and they're the most vocal and they're on the news. But that makes it difficult for me.
Because they're selling a very specific message of what Alcor is about, which is not necessarily what you're about.
I don't ever want to give
You're
false
not
hope.
selling the afterlife to people.
I'm not selling false hope, no. First of all, I'm not selling anything, and I'm definitely not promising something that you have to have faith to believe will ever happen, because it's just not me. And I'm not going to be in charge of an organization that's doing that.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So you're like 80% of people are like, it's like better than like burying me.
It's better than zero.
You know? And then 10% of people who are like, this will definitely work in the future. They're going to figure out how to revive me.
And then there's still 10%. That 10% it's almost certainly not going to work for me, but for my children and grandchildren.
They're contributing to the research.
Yes. And that is so critical. So the first person who got a heart transplant, they knew they probably weren't going to live at all. And if they did, it might be
but they wanted
days
to
or
be
weeks.
part of the research and the system.
Right. So that was, I think, 1956. We're 70 years later. And I mean, there's people living 30 years with a heart transplant.
Yeah, right.
But that guy had to be the first guy, you know?
Interesting.
And that could benefit his lineage somewhere along the way.
Yeah. Oh, I love that breakdown. That's fascinating.
Yes. And what's really interesting is it's gender specific too.
Uh-huh.
So men are egotistical, shockingly, right?
Yeah.
Men want to preserve our brains and think we're going to bring value or something. It turns out that women are attracted, and of course I'm generalizing. Could this help my grandchildren or my great-grandchildren, or could that provide them data like we talked about for genetic, diseases and things? If I'm preserved here, you have a way to look at that, even if it never works for them.
Interesting. Whatever you learn from my body can potentially help my grandchildren in some way.
Potentially. And that's a power. That's
yeah,
a
and
powerful
the guys like me, which is interestingly how I think about it, is I would do this on the chance that, bring me back, which is a very selfish place to come from.
So it's very inward looking.
Yeah, completely. No, I hadn't seen that in myself. That's really interesting.
When you really dig on this, it's wild. And when you talk to the women, it's very outward facing.
You have some animals frozen there as well?
We do.
How many? What have you got?
Oh, gosh, I'm not even sure.
I'm an animal guy. Dogs, cats, birds. What are we talking?
Yeah, I mean, we have, I think, all of that.
Thought experiment here. You've got 90% of people who are signing up are thinking there's a chance they will be reanimated in the future. In 100 years,
there's a hope.
In 200 years. There's a hope. There's some thoughts around this, and I guess my greatest fear would be if I am being one of the first bodies or heads to be reanimated.
Yeah,
that goes horribly wrong. I'm going to suddenly be
case,
brought
though.
back gasping and probably taken out the back and shot.
No,
that's terrifying.
Yeah, but that just wouldn't be the case. First of all, it would be counterproductive to anybody running the organization at that time. Obviously, word would leak, and then
they want it to go well.
It.
Thrusting us 200 years into the future to be the lab that is like, they've got David Farrier's body. They're like, this is our first, we're going to try and bring this guy back. That's like a very, both ethically in the future and just from a what the fuck is going to happen perspective, like that's a really scary place to be.
Well, until it has been demonstrably shown repeatedly and validated many, many times, hundreds, if not thousands of times in organs and then probably small mammals and other things, nobody's going to be revived in any way. I mean, that's part of our foundational documents. It's part of our operating documents, part of everything. So it will have been done in any number of variations prior to any human being brought back. Okay. I don't think it would be even attempted until there was a 99.9 degree of confidence. Now I'm speaking for the future, of course, right? Number one. Now, number two, the thing we often hear is people say, well, I'm scared to death because if I'm brought back, it's going to be possibly this dystopian future where they're going to abuse my future past self.
Yeah, that's the other worry. Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't know what the future is going to be.
But that's contrary to all of human history.
You think things are going to get better?
If they don't get better, the last thing they're going to do is spend money on bringing people back.
You have faith that the future will be in a position where the tech is so good that
It has to be.
recovery, if they're going to do it.
Right. It's an optimistic society. It's going to be a more advanced society.
Yeah, my hope is that I'm not brought back gasping and like half cooked, you know?
Again, that would be contrary to anybody's interests, including the people bringing you back. It'd be dramatically contrary. So I don't know. Logically, that's inconsistent.
Elephant in the room in all of this, because we're talking a lot about science and the scientific community, and you've alluded to the fact, as in talking, that it's not something that is widely accepted. Like that's a big thing that you're up against, right? Viewed by a lot of people as pseudoscience. I've got a quote here from a cryobiologist, Kenneth Story. This is from back in 2004. They said cryonics is impossible and will never be possible as cryonics proponents are proposing to overturn the laws of physics, chemistry, and molecular science. And there's a lot of scientists that have that point of view. So you're in this field that is like very critical.
It's hilarious you mentioned that. I think you should reach back out to him and see if he still feels that way.
From back in 2004?
Ken Story, yeah.
See if he's changed his mind.
Reach back out to him. The reason I bring that up is I've actually met with the legitimate, top physicists on Earth. They're inarguable credentials on these people, top universities. And one of the things that killed me about 2 years ago, I had one of these meetings and talking to the person, and I think they're even a member, perhaps, or maybe we have highly confidential members. And the person said, James, I would not acknowledge you if you came to any of these scientific conferences. And I would be critical of cryonics. And I'm like, you're signed up. What's ironic is I think some of these scientists you're mentioning in the fields, particularly say cryobiology or thermodynamic engineering, those sorts of things, they could look around a room and there's going to probably be at least 5 or 10% of the people in that room that are signed up and are pretending not to be. I'm making a wide statement there, and I understand that, but understand I'm privy to this. Look, I understand it. I get why people would be skeptical. I do. But I have a lot on the line personally, too. You got to think about that. I had a credible legal career. I have great credentials. I went to a great school, worked at great firms. I've done a lot of things. And, I'm not a stupid person. I'm not the smartest person.
No, you're backing this with your full. I mean, you are the face of Alcor, but you're turning up here.
That's a hell of a risk.
I agree.
That is a hell of a risk. Why would I do that? I've just got to be this really stupid person, or maybe I know something.
So yeah, legal counsel, big boss of Alcor, very enthusiastic about what he does, deeply enthusiastic.
I mean, I guess to play devil's advocate, if these rich people don't have families, it's like some old guy with a lot of money.
Let them do it.
And he can fund himself to be frozen for 200 years because he's stockpiled enough money.
Let him do it.
I guess.
That was Hayden's argument of if certain people want to throw their money into this, then it's better than spending it on that than something else.
Who are we to tell them they can't do it?
They can't do it.
People are willingly agreeing to do it and spend money on it.
Yep, thousands of members waiting to be frozen that are out there.
I'd be interested to know the statistics of the people that are frozen.
Their backgrounds and income and motivations.
And do they have kids?
I think what he said was really interesting, how 10% of the people who are members are very extreme. They're we are doing this to be resurrected in 200 years. 80% are just like, this is a better bet than like incinerating my cells. And then 10% are like, we just want to contribute to science in case they crack it. It does come back to that big thing that we've talked about a lot. That's like, they're working so hard on the science to like freeze you without like fucking up your cells, without like things getting icy and expanding and exploding and not messing with your cells. Zero thought about how they're reanimating. It's like people generations in advance are going to deal with that bit. That's a very big part of the puzzle.
Yeah, well, and just like these first people that are frozen are going to be the ones that they test this on.
Wait, he said in the interview, I cut this, he said first in, first out. So yeah, first one, I'm pretty confident that's what he said. You don't want to be the first one out.
Because
I want to be the last one out.
Yeah.
Keep me in there for another 100 years till you've done this like thousands more times, and then you can bring me out.
It's perfected. And who's
the
paying
more I
more
think about
for
it,
that?
the weirder it gets. Also, I keep just thinking of not just here, any Cryonics company, if you are just saving your head, they are sawing off your head. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's very visceral shit.
Yeah. And what does it go on? Is there like a wood base that a nice like cedar base they're putting it on?
There's a process. And maybe this brings us to like another thing. And I want to explain how I came to this. So I was in New York a few weeks ago after we did our tour. I went on there. I met up with John Wilson because he is, you know his stuff, right?
Yeah, I love John Wilson.
How To with John Wilson.
Yeah.
It's amazing, Sean Max. He's he's in the world of Nathan Fielder, and he just films everything and he narrates and just does amazing like documentary work in like a very specific way.
His show was an inspiration for this show.
Oh, this is it? Yeah, just observing like what is going on, like looking at a topic that is like other people might see as being like normal, but going, no, this is odd.
Well, or just
what is
weird
this?
and mundane. His like
scaffolding.
Yeah. We both go to scaffolding.
Yeah.
Or
I love that episode.
Was it the TLC or the TC Tugger?
The TC Tugger. Which, a gentleman had figured out how to try and reverse circumcisions by stretching out skin on your penis to like replace the foreskin that had been removed.
And it's just him strapped to a bed.
It's one of the best scenes on TV. You know, John Wilson walks into a man's bedroom. He's
and
lying
his
there.
daughter is home, and she's just like
she's upstairs.
Annoyed at her dad, I think.
Yeah, and just kind of a bit embarrassed by like what dad's up to. And yeah, John Wilson walks into the room, and this gentleman is lying down. He's got the TLC Tugger, the TL Tugger.
I should just search.
I don't want to see that thing. The TC Tugger. Attached his penis, and it's like an elastic band that's stretched over the headboard, just stretching out his like foreskin.
Yeah.
Or what remains of his foreskin. Anyway, anyone that doesn't watch the show is like, what the fuck are you talking about?
But it's also like so beautifully written in the way he like weaves these mundane topics.
It's
into
extraordinary, right?
Much more profound.
Yeah.
Like his neighbor.
Oh, his landlord.
That whole storyline where she's leaving him like food at his front door.
If you haven't seen How To with John Wilson, like deeply recommend it.
Yes.
He has opened a very small theater in New York with his friend, and I put on a webworm screening of a doc, and he presented it at his theater. And so I got to meet him and say hello. And we got to talking about his show. And in one of his episodes, he had gone to a Cryonics meeting.
Yeah.
And there he met a man who was worked in this space and was going to be frozen, cryogenically frozen when he died. And he revealed during an interview that he had self-castrated himself many years ago. He had removed his testicles. Mm-hmm. And it is just this comes out of nowhere. You're not expecting it. My point being,
you've done the same.
I've done the same thing. No, my point being, he is like one of those people in that 10% that is like extreme, who is like deeply unusual, a futurist, like wants to be unfrozen, has these very like out there ideas, like removing your testicles. And as I was talking to John Wilson about this, he said there's a book that a former employee of Alcor wrote, whistleblowing about how crazy this place is. So I jumped on Amazon. I ordered the book. It
It's
turned
like
out.
a Danielle Steele cover.
Oh yeah, this is like presented as like a thriller. It just arrived this morning from Amazon. It's called My Journey into the World of Cryonics, Deception and Death by Larry Johnson. So this is a guy who was COO at Alcor for a decent period of time. And he basically alleges a bunch of really intense, horrific things about Alcor back in the day when he was there, not current
Before
Alcor.
James was there.
Before he was there. And I'm just rambling on. It's such a weird thing to explain. Alcor sued the shit out of him. You can't get this book new anymore. This is like the last copy on like Amazon Marketplace. The website's all down. You can look on Alcor's website and they just have like screeds of press releases about how basically this guy has had to renege everything he said in this book.
Mm-hmm.
In saying that, this is like a thrilling, insane read from someone who was there. And even if a lot of what he's saying is iffy or allegedly iffy, it's an amazing read. So I'm going to show you, Rob, a couple of photos.
Oh, he's got pictures.
Because you talked earlier about recording about like, what are the heads looking like?
Yeah.
So this is like, he's got photos in here of like one of the head severings.
Oh, great. Head severings.
And you get a little idea of like what that process...
Yeah, this looks horrible.
Yeah, which of course, removing a human head for any reason is awful. But you don't really, when you're like, oh, I'm going to have my head frozen. You know what I mean? Until you see it, until you start really thinking about it, you don't realize how intense this stuff is.
Yeah.
Anyway, everything he said is allegedly. We talked about that a lot in the interview that we did. I cut it out because I was so concerned that like, he was also like, potentially defaming the author. He was talking about the author defaming him. If you want to read about it, just Google like Alcor lawsuit. It's all pretty incredible stuff, and I just think is worth raising. And I was just blown away that like John Wilson talked to one of these like cryonics like enthusiasts who had castrated himself. Why, you say? I rewatched the clip last night. He was like upset about his like sexual urges. So he's like, how am I going to fix this?
Yeah, I mean,
off with the testicles.
valid point.
There are people listening to this right now just going like, what are you talking about? The book is amazing. Highly recommend it. Any other thoughts on cryonics, a deeply American idea that has now spread to Russia? It's spread to Australia. 2,000 members here that want to be frozen. Not a lot when you statistically look at how many Americans there are. But I think enough.
I mean, I think the only thing is just like the science use of it that could be used for good.
100%. That's another thing that Alcor is doing, is that they are like allegedly like learning about like freezing organs and not just whole bodies. Like they're putting work into that.
Like he said in his breakdown, was it 10% are doing it to hopefully
help the future.
Help science.
Totally. It's like conserve my body, put it on ice, and if you can like, if that helps you in the future to like look at anything, here I am.
I think that's great. That's like being an organ donor.
Yeah, it is kind of the equivalent of that, right?
This, if we can move that more to like 90% of people are doing it just to further science.
Yeah.
Feel like you get a little more behind.
Like the whole endeavor. Yeah, because then it becomes like not an egotistical, selfish thing, but actually people may be wanting to like contribute to the research.
What was that breakdown again?
10% of people were like obsessed with coming back, which I feel like I could veer into.
Yeah.
80% were just like, this is like statistically better than like being buried.
Okay. Just like passively hopeful.
Passively hopeful. Just like, maybe they'll do something to me. And then 10% being like, they're definitely not going to bring me back, but they will like learn from my body and my brain.
My world, I feel like if that 10% could grow a little bit for why people are doing it, I can get a little bit more behind it.
100%. And I think I'm a deeply skeptical person, and I'm like deeply skeptical about all of this. There's a part of me that like has a lot of respect for him for coming in and like talking about this.
Yeah.
Because it's like he knows that he's up against people thinking like this is crazy.
Yeah.
And yet he's still talking. I don't know. I think it takes a certain level of like, I don't know,
Confidence.
confidence, I suppose,
Yeah.
which is another very American thing. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. If you have any, I would love to hear from someone that has like knows someone that's signed up either at Alcor or another place.
Or if you're frozen.
Or if you're on ice, then like email flightlessbirdchat@gmail.com. I would love to know someone that is like deeply into this world and genuinely so. I will not be signing up. I'll be putting my money elsewhere, but hey.
What if he gave you
Each of
like
their own.
10 years free? A gift card.
10 years free. 10 years. I hate to think where we're going to be in 10 years. It's like there's no hope that things will be like significantly better.
Well, they haven't even started the process of unfreezing.
Oh my God, I know. What is it going to look like? I want to rewatch Demolition Man and see what that unfrozen process looked like.
Yeah.
Because they got out of there pretty quickly, right? They were like back and like fighting.
Yeah.
Like very
all
quickly.
That muscle mass stayed.
All that muscle mass. I need to get strong. Another like a few like quick things that I just discovered like just before I drove in here. A big issue with all of this that's been raised is that there is this temptation in this space, and it's been alleged about certain organizations doing this, that it kind of comes with this temptation to use like premature euthanasia. So this idea that like from the people wanting to be frozen and also from some of the organizations, like is the pressure to be like, you're almost dead.
Yeah, freeze me when I'm 25 and in the top.
Well, yeah,
top
essentially.
shape.
But yeah, like before I die, I'm going to die in like the next week. So like if I come into the lab, could you like, you know, just like
assisted suicide.
Send me off and like get me like, instead of leaving me for half an hour or like the week it takes me to get to your lab, let's just do it now. So that's like an ethical concern when you're talking about people that are obsessed with like keeping their body in the best possible condition.
Well, this comes up kind of in Alien Earth, where the little girl is
spoiler
then
alert
put
for
in,
episodes 1 and 2.
Episode half of the beginning of the first episode.
Alien heads they get excited.
But she gets put in like a 20-year-old body because she's not going to age, and
That's
she's
right.
like a kid at
She's
the
a
time.
kid. Yeah.
So when you come back, you're also hoping they've reversed aging and that they can like. You're almost gonna have to go in a different body because,
of course,
you're frozen at 90, and
they're not gonna put you in like an old 90-year-old's body. That's a really good point.
So you've got to also factor that in.
I hadn't even thought about that. Your body is not going to match in any way with like what you're used to.
No.
Yeah, I don't like that. Obviously, it also leans towards like, say they figure out how to do this, the wealthy is always their advantage because they're the ones that can afford to be frozen for like 1,000 years. And then this one blew my mind. Headline today. And this is deeply American. A startup is pitching a mind uploading service that is 100% fatal. So, this is from MIT Technology Review. It's called Nectome. Their founder, Robert McIntyre, is going to describe his technology for exquisitely preserving brains in microscopic detail using a high-tech embalming process. So essentially, it's to preserve your brain and upload it company. So not freezing, but more like the Pantheon approach I was talking about earlier. Its chemical solution can keep a body intact for hundreds of years, maybe thousands, as a statue of frozen glass. The idea being that scientists can scan your pickled brain and turn it into a computer simulation. But for Nectome's procedure to work, it's essential that the brain be fresh. The country says its plan is to connect people with terminal illnesses to a heart-lung machine in order to pump its mix of scientific embalming chemicals in their necks while they're still alive or under general anesthesia. There's already a waiting list for this, allegedly. And yeah, it's called Nectome. It's a startup. But for the process, they need to do it while you're alive.
Again, I just feel like this is just making copies and not actually transferring consciousness.
A simulation.
Yeah.
Maybe they could make us better. Maybe we could better, maybe the simulated version is a better of ourselves.
They're making a model based on us, but it's not us.
Do we need to be us though?
No, you don't. But it seems like what
That's what they're
What
doing.
it's being sold is that you're going to live forever in the simulation,
Which is your
computer.
nightmare version.
Think so, yeah. That could be torturous, but you're a machine and you don't have a way to tell.
This is a Black Mirror episode,
Yeah.
right? Where consciousness gets like trapped for all eternity. One last thought experiment for you. They solve it. They say like, we can prove that we can bring you back. You're on your deathbed. You know that if you get frozen, you pay like $120,000. You've made good money from podcasting. You can afford it. Calvin and Vincent aren't going to be like burdened with the rent. You can just like pay it forward. They've got enough money for college. Would you do it? You die forever, or you can be brought back in 200 years' time. Guaranteed. Back in a body, your body. They have like a robotic version of your body, but it's you, but better.
I mean, if they know how to do it, I think it's a fully different question.
You're doing it.
Potentially.
Heard it here first. Rob supports
Are you?
Alcor. He's back. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And if I wake up and the future's rubbish, then I'll
You'll just kill
freeze me.
yourself.
I'm not going to wake up and kill myself. I was like, put me back in the freezer. Freeze me again.
Give me another. You just keep rolling the
Yeah,
dice.
no, keep rolling the
200
dice.
years, hopefully even better.
Exactly. I'm just going to do that.
Yeah.
That's my method.
And not in our lifetime, they're going to be able to test any of that and like mentally what that's going to do to someone.
I mean, you'd need therapy.
Yeah.
You'd need like a little bit of therapy, I think.
Probably.
Because I was so excited about
Cryonics.
I've just been reading about. I've been trying to finish that book all day, but I'm a slow reader. I didn't get a chance to pull out feedback, so I'm just going to pull out like a random one.
Emails.
Because we get so many. Okay, I'm going to give you some subject lines that people wrote in with. You can pick one.
Cool.
Option 1, high school prom. Option 2, comedy sequels better. Option 3, Pokemon episode feedback.
I had to do high school prom.
Okay. I'm an activities director at a high school about 40 minutes east of LA.
There you go.
My job is to create culture and spirit at our school. That's an American statement, right? That's what I do. One of the events we do to create positive school culture and spirit is prom. Is this my invite to prom? I heard in your Pokemon episode, you and Rob were talking at the end of the episode about attending an American prom. Our prom.
Let's wait. David is attending prom. I am not attending prom.
Our prom, like most proms, is in the spring, April. If you'd like more info, let me know and we could get you out to the school to see the back end of what goes on. But you could also attend the rally and the event, music, dancing, food, crowning of the prom king and queen.
I think if you're like an honorary VJ or of some sort, you can make this work. How big is the high school? Promote the podcast. That's
To
2,000
be
to
clear,
3,000
I'm
people.
deaf. To be clear, I'm deaf. To be very clear, I'm not going to just turn up to a prom and like be mingling around.
No, you're going to promote the podcast.
That you'll get arrested. I also want to say this activities director has an amazingly American signature. This is what Americans do. It's a quote from Abraham Lincoln. Whatever you are, be a good one.
It's a good
I
quote.
love that quote.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I mean, did he say that? I can't imagine Abraham Lincoln saying it. Whatever you are, be a good one. But I mean, if he said that, respect to him. But isn't that great that you have like an American president as your email quote?
It is.
I'm going to do one more because this is fun. You can pick Hooters, Texas Homecoming, Yeehaw, or Proving You Wrong, a comedy sequel better than the first.
Hooters. I feel like I'm glad people are sending in comedy sequels, but I feel like it's
very personal to each.
Yeah, it's an opinion.
Hooters, their daughter worked at Hooters and they're happy to talk to us for the podcast. That's great.
Them or their daughter?
The daughter who worked at Hooters. Thank you as always for writing in. I'm just opening the inbox. There are hundreds of.
Let's hear a comedy sequel that's better than the original.
Okay. So, big fan. This is actually the second time I've emailed you in the past couple of weeks. All right. Thank you, Michael. I emailed you not long ago about fake seizure guy in Melbourne and was delighted to hear in the Pokemon cards episode that you mentioned the article that I'd sent through. Anyway, in the episode, you were curious to hear if there were any comedy movies with a sequel. This is a big lead up. Was better than the original. As you said it, one movie came to mind. It was my favorite movie growing up. Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls. Do yourself a favor, give it a watch. I've never seen the sequel to Ace Ventura, and I'm surprised if it's better than the first, because the first was so iconic.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I don't think the first one was a dud.
It was amazing. So if Nature Calls is better than the first, holy shit. I love Jim Carrey.
Yeah, let's do another one. Let's do another one.
Okay.
Another comedy sequel.
Okay. This could be polarizing, says Natalie. But I think Austin Powers, the Spy Who Shagged Me, is way better than the first one, The International Murder Mystery. I'll probably watch Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, no fewer than 400 times.
Wow.
Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb disagrees with me, but whatever. So there you go. Austin Powers, Ace Ventura, according to our listeners. I can't think of any comedy sequels that are better than the first.
Are they making a lot of comedy sequels nowadays?
These days?
Yeah.
I feel
Happy
like it was
Gilmore
a thing.
2.
Oh my God, that was a piece of shit. My God,
Didn't even watch it yet.
That was so. It's amazing. I mean, I love Adam Sandler. It's amazing for I've never seen a film with so many celebrities and cameos. Yeah. I was like, how is this possible?
Well, I feel like there's also a differentiator of it's like we're gonna bring back this thing everyone loved, and it's just gonna be a ton of nods to the original as the sequel versus Deadpool 2.
Yeah, carrying on a story.
Yeah,
doing a thing. Yeah, I mean, Gilmore was such an unusual thing. They did an amazing thing in Happy Gilmore 2 where whenever they made a reference to the first film, they would just roll the tape from the first film. So they just cut back. You'd see a guy in the crowd from the first one, and they'd just play a clip from the first one of that same guy. It was I get it, guys. I understand what you're doing. Yeah, that's not the one. Always feedback, flightlessbirdchat@gmail.com. If you have any feedback about being frozen and Cryonics, would love to hear from you. We have t-shirts at flightlessbirdpod.com. See you next week.